All right. Hey, welcome. It's a Wednesday afternoon. It's a pretty wild weather Wednesday
Yes, it
afternoon.
is.
I just drove through a crazy storm. Have you had some weather like that, Ben, or no?
We did, yeah. While I was at work, it was thundering, like it was thundered so loud we could hear it inside the building with the
Oh
windows closed.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
It shook our house a lot, a lot. My son was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's thunder." He's like, "It didn't sound like thunder. It sounds like the house was gonna fall down." I'm like, "I don't think it will." Anyway, welcome. It's Wednesday afternoon. It's about 1:40. Uh, Welcome to the sports show with no name. We're glad you could make it with us. Hopefully you're, I don't know, maybe on a lunch break or off work for the day, or at least not driving through the storm that I just drove through about 20 minutes ago. That was pretty wild. Well, maybe about 40 minutes ago now. Time flies when you're having fun. Ben, I've got Ben with me. I'm Chad Bryan. I'm your host. We've got Ben Bales. Ben, I didn't ask you, man. I'm sorry. How are you doing today, buddy?
doing good.
That's good, man. What do you want to talk about? Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because we already know what we're talking about. I think we have a great show. We're going to talk about the Final Four matchups. All the one seeds made it. I
I
mean,
know.
it's funny because I was watching, I think on Selection Sunday, actually, when they announced all the brackets and all the seedings, whatever, way before the playing games. Jay Billis had his bracket, or at least his Final Four on ESPN, and he had all the number one seeds. And I made a comment to my wife. I was like, wow, Billis, really going out on a limb there, man. Like all the one seeds.
Yeah.
But here we are. So good job, Jay
I
Billis.
mean,
It turns out
it's
you
like the
know what
first
you're doing.
time since like 2008 or whatever that we've had all four one seeds in.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's rare. It's weird that it's rare, right? Like
Yeah,
they're the one seeds, but I mean that's how wild March Madness can be. I mean, it's hard
that's why
to
it's called March Madness.
exactly. It's hard to win in a tournament setting. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Florida, Auburn, and Houston and Duke. We'll go over the matchups a little bit, maybe give some predictions on those games, who we think is going to meet in the national title game. And then I guess we could pick that game as well, since that's going to happen on Monday. Those Final Four matchups, I guess the national semifinals are Saturday night, by the way.
I don't know
And then
why they
we
do.
talk about what we've got to talk about torpedo bats, man. We got to figure
Yeah.
out. I don't know if they're like
Are they
shot from a
legal, illegal, or are
submarine
they?
or what's going on, but
It's
what?
almost like I don't know. It's almost like you could say it's cheating, but at the same time, like MLB said, it's
Yeah, we'll
like
get
it's
to it. We'll get to it. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
We'll get to it. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about the Braves' slow start. The Braves are the last winless team in baseball. They're 0-6. It's not going well. We'll break down some of the numbers that have gotten them there. They're not pretty. Not pretty. But I'm wearing my Braves shirt on the show today because
hey, you always got to support, right?
I'm an undying supportive fan. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to switch teams. It's not going to happen. It's just you're not going to see me. Whatever. They're 0-6. Who cares? They've had bad starts before. Not this bad since 1990, but we'll talk about that later. Let's just get right to the Final Four. I don't really have any headlines. The headlines really today were the weather came through.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was just so much lightning. I was driving my son to school, and it was like lightning, like literally every 10 to 15 seconds. It was pretty intimidating how hard it was raining and how loud that thunder was. He was talking to me. I couldn't even hear him in the back of the car. So pretty wild. But the Final Four. Okay, so Saturday night, what do we got? Game 1, Florida versus Auburn at 6:09 is the tip-off for that game. These games will be at the Alamo Dome, by the way, in San Antonio, and both the games will be televised on CBS. So if you have your local stations going on, you can watch those on CBS. Whether you've got over-the-air or streaming services or cable, whatever, those are on CBS. So Florida Auburn. Let's Ben, you and I, we talked about it last week a little bit. I mean, we kind of expected Florida to be here, right?
Did
We did. I mean, they're playing really good basketball.
they are?
They're huge. They've got so much size. They've got a lot of depth. They've got maybe I don't know. What do I want to say? Do I want to say I mean, Walter Clayton Jr. is probably the second or third best player in the nation, right?
I would agree.
At least as far as grit and determination. I mean, he's obviously very skilled. But let's talk about Florida's team for a second because I was just thinking about the Jay Billis thing. It's so funny, the 4 number ones. Florida is capable of going basketball is a game of runs, right?
It is.
I get it. It always is, always has been, especially the NBA, but college basketball is a game of runs as well. No one does runs like Florida. Well, maybe except for Taco Bell at 3 a.m. after a keg party. But that
Right.
as far as basketball, no one does runs like Florida. Florida they were down 9 to Texas A&M right? Ended the game on an 18-4 run to seal that win. It scored 53 points in less than 17 minutes against Norfolk State in the first round. I don't know if you realize that. And it's so efficient.
That's crazy.
47 in the second half against Maryland. I mean, Maryland's obviously no slouch, right? Maryland's a pretty good team in the Sweet 16. And Florida put up 47 points in the second half to seal that one. They can score, and they can score in a hurry.
They can.
We talked about Walter Clayton Jr. If you don't believe me, just go back and watch the three he made against UConn, or watch the three that it's just he's unbelievable, right? Like or Texas Tech, I think. What, Texas Tech right before, about a minute left in the game.
Yeah.
Just a step back off balance. Like it's one of those shots. Like if you're,
it looked like Steph Curry.
Yeah, it reminded you of exactly what I have in my notes. It reminded me of Steph Curry. And it's like one of those shots, if you're a Florida fan, when you see it go up, you go, no. Oh, all right.
Yeah, and then he goes in, you're like, yeah.
All right, good shot. It was wild. But yeah, I think that's Florida's key, I think, is getting Clayton Jr. going, right? Getting Walter Clayton Jr. going. But they're so deep. I mean, they're not quite as deep as Duke, I don't think. We'll talk about Duke in a minute. I don't think Florida's the deepest team in the nation, but they're exceptionally deep.
I agree.
So I don't know, ice cold, just a quick release. It does. He reminds me of Steph Curry a lot. But what about Auburn? Like we can't forget about Auburn.
I mean, they do have the player. They do have arguably the player of the year in Johnny Broome or whatever his name is.
Johni Broome. Yeah, he's
Broome.
Really, really good. Just against Michigan State, we talked about how sometimes unbeatable Tom Izzo can be in these kind of situations.
I mean, Michigan State fought hard. I mean, you lost by 6 to arguably the best team in the tournament.
Yeah, probably an undermanned Michigan State squad too. We talked about that as well a couple weeks back. But yeah, I mean, Broome put up 25 points, 14 rebounds against Michigan State. Really has turned himself into a superstar after starting out as, he was a redshirt candidate his freshman year at Morehead State, and now he's at Auburn. He's possibly the player of the year. Just amazing. He was really banged up in that Michigan State game too. I don't know if he went out with a knee injury. I think an elbow injury. Yeah, he came back and fought his way through that. So again,
super efficient too, 10 of 13.
Yeah, you can't ask for more than that. I mean, that's exactly what.
And he had 14 rebounds, dude. Gave you a double.
Yep. Yeah, so. Amazing player. I think he's a lot like Walter Clayton Jr. in that he just you get him going and you kind of you sit back and watch, right? Like he's not quite as exciting maybe as Walter Clayton Jr., but he's super efficient. Like you said, he scores. Just tough. They both play really tough and with a lot of grit. And I think it makes it hard to kind of pick out who comes out on top of this game. Do you have any kind of a notion? I mean, if you had to make a prediction, Florida Auburn, I mean, what's your gut right now?
My gut's Florida because I picked them to win it all. But at the beginning of the tournament, though, I'd picked strictly Auburn.
Yeah.
But after the way their season ended, it was kind of like no teams ever won it. Losing 3 or 4 going to the tourney. So I'm like, am I going to pick them?
Yeah, they kind of backed in. They're here. Yeah, they're here. They've got as good a shot as anybody. I mean, they're here. They did back into the tournament a bit.
They did.
Yeah, my gut is it's protruding over my waistline. To be honest with you, I got to probably get on that. Maybe a little less Girl Scout cookies and maybe some more exercise for me. But as far as basketball, I think my gut says Florida wins this game. I think.
Like you said, I think Florida's
ability to just take control of a game and just squeeze the life out of it is it's uncanny. It's unbelievable. I keep using the word uncanny the last few weeks. I don't know where this word came from, but I've been using the word a lot. I mean, I don't know. It's uncanny how much I use it. Slide that in on you. All right. Yeah, I don't know. 86-79. If I had to give you a score, I'd say around that range. Florida's, like I said, they can score in a hurry.
Yeah, I think it's a close game. I just hope it's a good game. I hope it's not one of those blowouts, where one of them gets completely the brakes blown off of them.
Yeah, I think what did Florida win the regular season matchup? They won by 9, didn't they? The regular season. I don't remember the exact score, but I thought they won by 9. For some reason, I don't have that score in my notes, but yeah, I don't know. I see Auburn hanging around in this one. I think Johni Broome has just done too much. They've been playing too well, playing too hard. They're not going to lay down for Florida. I think it'll be a good game. But Florida, I think, makes a run at the end probably. And, what they've done the entire tournament so far, just put teams away in the second half. And I see them doing that to Auburn in this one. So then, we've got the second game, which is Houston and Duke. And this matchup kind of intrigues me a little bit. That tip-off is going to be at 8:49 or thereabouts. Like I said, the matchup really intrigues me because it's like, okay, Duke, you've got Duke, right? You've got Cooper Flagg. probably the number 1 overall draft pick. I don't think anyone
Probably.
disputes that. Although we can talk about this on another show, maybe around draft time. I'm not sure how exactly his game translates to the NBA. I have not concerns, but I just have questions.
I think if he can't shoot the 3 ball more consistently,
Mhm.
he's gonna be more of like a Giannis player. And don't get me wrong, Giannis is good,
Yeah.
but he's not as strong as Giannis. He's probably not as big as Giannis.
No. And I think
I
that's going
mean,
to limit him a little bit. He's a great
agreed. I
player.
mean, he's athletic,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's then you just turn into a Derrick Jones type player where you're just sitting in the corner, cutting back door and catching lobs.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is effective, but it's not. It's hard to believe we're talking about him being the number 1 overall pick, I guess,
Yeah.
with that skill set. Not that he's a great college player, but some guys, Christian Laettner, don't translate to the NBA very well, right? Yep. They're like that can't miss fundamental post player in college. And then for whatever reason, size, strength, technique, whatever it is, athleticism, they just don't really translate well in the NBA. And that can certainly happen. Not that I want that to happen to Cooper Flagg, but that's just I have a couple of questions about him. I don't know. I've heard a couple of people say he should stay in college for another year, which is wild to me. You can't go up from the number 1 pick, but
yeah. I mean, looking at his stats, I mean, he's shooting 37% from 3, so it's above league average in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to think that the 3-point line's further, so that probably drops a couple percentages. So he's NBA probably sit around 34, maybe 33, which is still above league average.
Too. I mean, that's not to be, not for nothing. It's hard to get used to a different ball.
Yeah, but I think what helps him in the league is his ability to rebound and his ability to block shots and just create turnovers because of his length.
Okay.
But
it almost sounds like a guy the Cavs could use. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the type of player the Cavs could use right now. He won't end up there at all. But
no, but I just think that if he wants to stick around and be, like a really, really good NBA player, he's got to shoot the 3 ball better.
Yeah.
Like if he's that wing guy that can, guard 1 through 5 and has a good offensive game inside, he can shoot the midi, he can dunk it on somebody if he needs to.
Yeah.
But then, if teams have to respect his 3-point game, it makes him a whole lot tougher to guard because then
all of a sudden that athleticism comes into play when you got to come out and play up on him, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I mean, we said with Giannis now, teams just let Giannis shoot threes because they know he's not going to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And that's and
yeah, his numbers don't pop off the page at you at all.
No, but
he's also the clear best player on the clearly deepest team.
I think it's just all about consistency. Like we've talked about it before. Like, he's going to consistently go out there every night and be really, really good.
Yeah, and he fits so well into that Duke offense, which, by the way, is the most efficient in the nation. They're the number 1.
John Shire is what he's done there.
Oh, it's nothing short of amazing. Yeah.
I saw his record over his first 3 years. His first 2 years, he was like 27-9.
Yeah.
And then this year he was 33-3, and it's like
they're 80. He's 89-21 at Duke.
Yeah.
And they keep taking the steps, right? Like they got beat in the second round, made it to then now here they are in the Final Four. Yeah. It really doesn't hurt that Duke has NBA level talent on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got guys that are probably legitimate second round picks sitting as the 6th and 7th man.
Yeah,
in that rotation.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it reminds me of some of the teams that Kentucky had. Where they'd have 5 freshmen start, and then all 5 freshmen would go in the draft. And it's like, jeez.
I saw a crazy stat. This is actually one of the older teams Duke's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cooper Flagg's a freshman, and then you got a grad transfer, and you got a junior, and then I think you got like a senior on that roster as well.
Well, but it's funny, ironically. So Houston is one of the oldest teams in the country. They're one of the oldest. This is maybe one of the oldest Duke teams in a while, but they're still one of the youngest in the country.
Well, yeah, but it's because their bench is a bunch of really good freshmen.
Exactly. So I think we got to talk about Houston because Houston has the number 1 defense in the nation, right? They're probably the best defensive team if you look at a lot of the metrics. Not across the board, but I think overall defensive averages, you could say Houston, they're the number 1 defense in the nation. They can, just like Florida can grab a game and go on a run and squeeze the life. Houston can squeeze the life out of you defensively.
For sure.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see the nation's most efficient offense go against the nation's best defense. I think that'll be a fun matchup for sure. And Houston can hit the 3, man. They can really, really shoot the 3.
They can. I mean, they've always been able to. I mean, they've been able to the last couple of years under, Kelvin Sampson. I mean, he's he's really, allowed them to.
Yeah.
He's elevated them not only defensively, but also he's given them the ability to shoot the three ball well, and
Yeah.
that's why they've been so good the last couple of years.
Yeah, they hit a bunch at the end of the game against Tennessee to put the Vols away. They lead the country in 3-point shooting. They have 3 starters right now shooting 42% or better from the 3-point line. That's wild.
That's absurd. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really, really efficient, and it makes you really have to spread out defensively. You've got to go. I mean, you've got to pay attention to the perimeter. You can't let them have open shots.
It's like the Prime Warriors. Okay, who do you want to guard? You want to guard Steph? You want to guard Clay? You want to guard KD? Which one do you want to guard?
Yeah, my dog agrees. By the way, my dog, he put his 2 cents in there. Yeah, he said, don't let them shoot the 3. Don't let them shoot the outside ball at all. Yeah, like I said, they're one of the oldest. So does that experience come into play at all? I mean, under Kelvin Sampson, obviously, he's
so,
experienced.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like, Kelvin Sampson knows what it takes to get there because he's been there before.
Yes.
And it's like, then you give him a bunch of guys that have experience and are as good as they are. It's kind of just like, he knows they're going to figure things out, and he knows that if something goes wrong, that they're not going to panic, they're not going to fluster.
Yeah. It's a extremely good quality to have in a game that, basketball moves very, very quickly.
It does.
It can get away from you quick. I mean, like we just talked about Florida going on runs. Anybody can go on an 18-4 run, and like all of a sudden, you're looking at a game that you were down 2 in, now you're down 16, and it happens so fast. And we talk about, I mean, Houston can shoot the 3 well enough to, I think, navigate that if that happens to them. But then we're talking about Duke, who is the most efficient offense, and they're not going to, Duke doesn't get a lot of bad possessions, right? They're not going to turn the ball over. They're not going to make unforced errors. They're not going to take bad shots.
I agree.
They're going to get good looks, and they're going to score. And I don't think Houston can afford to fall down early at all, because I think Duke would just kind of put them away and squeeze the life out of them. Even as good as Houston's defense is.
But at the same time, though, too, I think, I'll say like the opposite of that. I think if you are Houston, if you do fall down early, you've got that defense to rely on. It's kind of like the Cavs in that Celtics game. If you fall down early, not saying, they're going to go down, 23 points and have to fight back. But if you go down early with that defense, and you get stops here and there, and, you start shooting the 3 ball a little bit better than you were when you were down. I mean, you got a shot to come back in the game. I mean, it's like that Cavs game. I mean, you're down 25-3. You call a timeout, and you come out and you go. And it wasn't a big run, but you come out and you go on a little 8-0 run, and all of a sudden
you're not going away.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's 25-11, and you're like, hold on, now we're only down 14.
Right.
And
it becomes manageable. Yeah, I agree.
And
I think the key is you have to figure out why you fell down, right?
Exactly.
Like you have to figure out what happened and fix that. Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, like we know Duke's going to go on their runs. Basketball's a game of runs.
Yep.
But like both these teams are capable of going on, big runs and capable of getting big stops. It's just a matter of who does it the most and who does it when. That's all it really comes down to is who's going to do it when it matters most and who's going to do it the most.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because the defensive ability obviously helps you down the stretch. In a close game, that helps so much. But then having a really efficient offense helps you too. It's just 2 different styles. I think this game stays really, really close.
I do
really
too.
Do. Yeah. Give me a score. What do you think?
I'm gonna say I think it'll be a lower scoring game.
4-2.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 2-1, 1-0. Maybe. No. I think it could be like. Maybe like 55-53 or.
Oh wow! Okay.
Because I mean, like you said,
okay.
Houston's defense is Houston's defense is really good.
Okay.
And Duke
Duke
has
is really efficient. Houston's going to have to shoot some threes to keep up with him. See, I was thinking like 71-66. I think it's going to be like a 3-5 point game.
I don't know if it'll be that low, but I think it'll be a close game because, like you said, Houston has a really good defense, but Duke has a really efficient offense. Yeah. And when Duke is clicking on offense, and I mean. You've heard some of the best hoopers in the world say sometimes great offense beats great defense. It's just the way basketball goes.
Yeah.
Sometimes great players can just outmatch great defense, and it's
And when you're so efficient, you get a lot of good looks. It really helps.
Yeah.
And again, all of the NBA level talent just oozing off of that roster. That doesn't hurt.
I mean, and I'll say this: I've told people this year about Duke, and it's like you look at Duke, over the years and the last couple of years, why they failed in the tournament. I mean, like you look at Paolo Banchero's year. Yeah, they had Paolo Banchero, the #1 overall player. But around him, they had good talent, but it wasn't great. It wasn't like elite level talent.
They had good complementary players.
Yeah.
And this year they have good complementary players with NBA level talent. It's like
exactly. Yeah,
It's
and
scary.
so like this year, I think that's why Duke seems so much better because you
Yeah.
have Cooper Flag, you have Connor Kneipel, and then you have a couple other guys that will probably get drafted that aren't
Yeah.
just like career college players,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, this could be one of the best Duke teams ever because of that talent.
Yeah. They probably have 3 first rounders on that team.
I would
And I
agree.
don't think I think them winning the ACC tournament with Cooper Flag out, I think it tells you
How good they
almost all
really
you
are.
need to know about Duke. I
Yeah.
mean, they're not going to back down from any
No.
challenges at all. They're not.
And it's kind of like one of those things. It's like a couple of years ago, they had we talked about this I think a couple of shows ago. They
Mhm.
had Zion, they had Cam Reddish, and they had RJ Barrett, and they
Yeah.
didn't
They
really do
never figured
anything.
out how to play together. All that talent, but they never figured
And
out how to play together.
that's what I'm saying. Like if that team could have figured out how to play together, that would have been
Mhm. Yeah.
But it's like
They
they
showed stretches, but it was like they featured one guy a night, right?
yeah
Like you'd like one night RJ Barrett would go for like 28 and 10 or whatever, and then
yeah
and then Zion would go for like 34 and whatever. And it was just like it was never like you never got that concerted effort from everybody. It
yeah.
just never felt like it was like,
You know,
everybody pitching in at the same time.
obviously it's obviously hindsight's 2020, but it's one of those things where it's like like if I was coaching that team, like I'm drawing up each of these guys is getting 15, 20 plays a game,
Yeah.
and I want them each to have around 10 to 20 points a game,
Yeah.
like 10 to 15 points,
Yeah, and it becomes difficult to work within the flow of the offense though when you're trying to feed someone, right? And
yeah,
it always felt like they were trying to feed one guy.
it did.
Like they kept feeding the hot hand, and that's fine. I get that, but you also want to run the offense and get
Yeah,
good looks, right?
yeah, and I think that's what
Um,
Duke does. Like
yeah,
sometimes like I was watching, I forget what game it was, but I was watching a game and Cooper Flag didn't touch the ball for like 4 straight possessions, and it's like,
yeah.
okay, like never seen Duke do this before, but they scored 4 straight buckets, and you're like, okay,
That's how
well,
good they're. That's just how good they were going. That's how good
and
they're
like
going
you
right
said, they
now.
were able to win the ACC tournament final without
Yeah,
Cooper Flag.
yeah,
Like most times, a team loses their star player and they look lost out there.
yeah,
Duke looked like they had been playing without him all year.
yeah. And I know people are like, "Well, they don't need Cooper Flag." Well, it's not that. It's just that they're so well. They're such a well-oiled machine that
Yeah, they're so well
they didn't
coached.
miss him as much as another team would have because they're that deep.
Yeah,
Okay, so that leaves us to so we've got the 2 Final Four games. We've got our scores. We obviously we think Duke and Florida are moving on. Now that leaves that's a pretty epic title game, Duke and Florida.
it is.
What are your thoughts on that? I didn't like really break down like any of the future matchups. I didn't really get into
I
that very much.
see. I picked Florida
Yeah.
to win it all,
Okay.
but the more and more that I've seen Duke play, the more and more I think that Duke could take it
Yeah. I mean,
because
35-3 ACC tournament champions.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
tough. They're really tough.
and I will say, I mean, they struggled against a struggling UConn.
Yeah.
Like UConn could have very easily won that game.
Yeah.
And I mean, like yes, obviously, Duke's not UConn. They don't have the same players as UConn. But
Sure.
if you look at that game plan that they did against UConn, I mean, you can obviously replicate it. Just add,
Yeah.
add some of your own twist to it.
Yep.
And I think Duke's more talented than UConn. So I think Duke could. I think Duke could win this game. But on
Yeah.
the reverse side, like we said earlier with Florida, Florida can score and they can score quick.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like
And they
like
can fill it up quick.
they got a bunch of bucket getters.
Yep.
They got a bunch of guys that can go out and get a bunch of buckets.
Yep.
And I think,
If you let Clayton Jr. go off like Steph Curry,
yeah, you're good luck. Like,
right.
and I think, to be honest, if I'm Duke, I'd probably stick Cooper Flag on Walter Clayton at the beginning of the game, see how it goes, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Cooper Flag's 6'9", but he's athletic enough to guard 1 through 5.
For sure. Yeah.
He's
For
got the
sure. That's
length.
why that's why he's being considered
Yeah,
the #1 overall pick, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's got the length, he's got the
One of
size,
the reasons. Yeah.
and it's one of those things. It's like I think, I mean, Duke's not super super big,
Mhm.
but Cooper Flag has that athleticism that
Yeah.
makes up for them not being super super big. Like he's
Yeah.
averaging
Well, when
one.
you're 6'9" and you play like you're 7 feet tall, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean
Like,
he's averaging 1.5 blocks a game
yeah,
at
that'll do it.
6'9". So
That'll absolutely do it.
I mean his athleticism is off the charts. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So I think I'm gonna go Duke in that game. I think it's a higher scoring game, not like, crazy high scoring. I think they're right around, I don't know, maybe Duke wins it like 83-80,
I
83-79.
think it'll be 177 to 175.
Why not? It'll be like the NBA All-Star game, 300 to 286.
No, I think
We would all
I
love
think
that.
I think that can be a higher scoring game too because like you said, it's a couple of good offenses.
Yeah.
I think it could be around there like you said. low 80s,
Yeah.
maybe mid 80s.
Yeah, I think I've seen enough of Duke to I believe that they can and will win a national title.
I agree.
All right, so that's the Final Four. Again, Saturday night is the tip-off. I think
90, I think you
6:09
said.
is the first game. Yeah, I think so. Let me look back there.
Is Duke the
Yeah,
second game then?
6:09 is that first game. That's Florida and Auburn. 8:49 or thereabouts afterwards. It's Houston and Duke. That's at the Alamo Dome. So catch those if on CBS if you want to.
I mean, Chad, I know we've talked about this before, but why is a national championship game being played on a Monday or on a Tuesday?
College does this. College basketball and football, they always do this. And I think it's because I don't know. I don't know why it is. Is there anything going on that Saturday night or on the next Saturday night or whatever? They could have gone. They could have gone Thursday, Saturday for that matter.
They could have.
But is there anything that they're trying to not compete against ratings wise? I mean, is there anything that
it's even one of those things? It's a college national championship. Like people are going to tune in and watch. Like,
yeah. And I don't know, maybe they think because it's on a Monday, there's nothing else going on. Like you got nothing, you're gonna watch it. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure why it's on a Monday or Tuesday.
But like I said, it's not like it's not like NFL football's on or NBA Finals is on. It's I mean MLB baseball's on, but let's be real. Like I'm gonna watch I'm gonna watch a college national championship over a baseball game. Like I can miss one.
I love baseball, but over the second week of the season, when my team isn't. I'm going to watch the college national championship game.
There's 162 games.
Right. Yeah, you got time. You got time.
I don't know. I just think I think it goes for all sports too. Like I think if I was the NFL, I would do the Super Bowl. I mean, I get it wouldn't really line up, but I would do the Super Bowl on a Saturday night.
Okay.
So then people
it's Super Bowl Sunday, man. I know, but it's almost like that next day should be then maybe like I don't want to say a holiday. That's ridiculous.
No, I get it.
To tailor a holiday around a football game is ridiculous. I get it. I'm a sports guy. I still think that's ridiculous. It's just, we talk about lowered productivity during the first round of March Madness or whatever. That Thursday and Friday are like the lowest productivity days at work. But I can't imagine that Monday after the Super Bowl is much better.
Well, it's the day that has the most call-offs because people don't want to go into work.
Just close the business.
I agree.
See you Tuesday. I mean, it is what it is. Let's move on though. I've got Florida and Duke in the title game. Duke winning that. You've got what? Florida winning?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll pick Florida. I'll stick with my bracket pick. I got Florida winning it also.
Nice. Okay. All right. Okay, great. That works for me. Let's move on. We got to talk about baseball. And the first thing I want to talk about, because I don't want to talk about the Braves first. Save that for the end of the show. And hopefully we'll run out of time. So the Yankees started making waves again, right? Like the Yankees typically do. Has nothing to do with the facial hair policy, right? We talked about they're allowing well-groomed beards now. I wonder if I would. Do I think I'd be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Torpedo bats is now a part of the jargon of Major League Baseball. And Ben, tell me, I asked you at the beginning, do they shoot these things off a submarine through the water? Like, why do they call them torpedo bats? What are we doing?
I don't know.
You don't know. Is it the shape? It's just the shape, right?
It's probably the shape, but like I asked this off street before we started, and I'll ask you, on camera now. Do you think the MLB bans these bats at some point?
I think they'll take a look in the offseason. I think right now the Major League Baseball has said that they're well within the parameters of what is legal when it comes to bats. It's not like an apparatus put on the barrel. It's just more wood in a different spot. And the thing that I think is really interesting, so we got to talk about this. The whole point of the torpedo bats is the short answer to your question is I think they may look at it in the offseason, but I think they're here to stay.
I
thought originally they may ban them in the offseason, but now they're growing so much that do you know how much more I should say, of a villain Rob Manfred would be if you take the next exciting thing in baseball and then ban it, right? There's nothing illegal. There's nothing cheating about it. It fits within the size that bats are allowed to be. It's just moving more wood to the sweet spot of a bat. And it's not necessarily one spot. It's not right in the middle of the barrel. So this guy's name is Aaron Lenny Lenhart. Okay. He was an MIT physicist. He's actually moved on now. I think he's with the Marlins. He doesn't even work with the Yankees anymore. But he developed these bats, and basically they analyzed where each player tended to.
Wait, so he's not even with the Yankees anymore?
No. He developed these bats for the Yankees. Whatever, he's moved on. He's with the Marlins organization now. He does something completely
So
different.
why did it take him this long to break it out then if he's not with them anymore?
Probably just trying to get used to it physically and trying to put like the production into.
True.
I have no
Yeah.
idea. I'm not sure. The brand is it only Victus that makes these bats?
I think
don't
so.
know. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I think
Okay.
so.
I've seen them. I just don't know if they were the only. I'm
Well,
sure
I
they
don't
won't be the only company after,
I don't
it'll
know
be
if
a
you
few months
saw.
or whatever, and they'll have new lathes everywhere, and they'll be making torpedo bats.
I don't know if you saw. I don't know if it's at the end of this year or if it was started before this year, but Louisville Sluggers no longer officially the bat of the MLB.
Yeah.
They
Who
ended
is the
their.
official bat now?
I don't know if they have one anymore.
They don't have one. All
I
right.
think
Well,
it's
you and I
kind of
need to
just.
get working on making bats.
I think it's kind of just one of the things. It's like they've been there for so long, and it's kind of like players stop just solely using Louisville Sluggers.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, what's the point of sponsoring them if other people just gonna use Victus and bomb bats and
Axe and everything else?
Yeah.
It's gotten so popular. There's just all kinds of bat companies. But yeah, okay. So this guy, Aaron Lenhart, MIT physicist. They looked at where each player tended to barrel up the ball, right?
So all the bats are different.
If you get it down toward the label more, they put it on your label. If you get it toward the end of the bat more, they put it at the end of the bat.
That's what I was gonna
say.
say.
A lot of guys like it toward the handle more because it makes the bat feel a little more balanced in their hand. Right? It feels a little lighter. Is there any advantage here to a hitter? Do you think? Is it just psychological?
I don't know if it's psychological, but I definitely think there is an advantage because, like, if you're hitting the ball where most of the time you do, and now all of a sudden that part of the barrel is bigger, the ball's gonna go like you have a bigger sweet spot. It's like using a big barrel bat in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, go out there and take 20 swings with a big barrel, then go out there and take 20 swings with a skinny barrel bat. Like, obviously you're gonna do better with the bigger barrel. Like,
sure. Yeah, more surface area to square the ball up.
And
Makes sense,
I also think it does help some people.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously we know Aaron Judge doesn't need it. Like,
No.
Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. He's
Yeah.
But for guys like Jazz Chisholm and Austin Wells.
Did you see what he said about it, by the way?
Yeah.
Aaron Judge?
Yeah. But like for guys like Austin Wells and Jazz Chisholm, it's like these guys Jazz Chisholm was good, then he fell off, and now all of a sudden he's having another breakout year, and it's like, okay, is it the bat? Did he just figure something out? And then Austin Wells is also having a good year, and it's like, okay, is it the bat? Did he figure something out?
Well, we do have to remember right now that Milwaukee's pitching staff is completely decimated by injury. I mean, no offense to these guys that are there right now, but that pitching staff is horrendous. Like they're very, very, very injured.
It is, but
then we do have to. That comes into play as well.
It is, but then
the Yankees did lose last night for what it's worth, so it's not like they're just bombing everybody 14-2.
Yeah.
So maybe it has more to do with the Brewers pitching staff than it does the actual bat itself.
Yeah, but I don't know. It'll be like I told you off, before we started the stream. I said, if you're gonna allow these torpedo bats, you got to give the pitchers some sort of advantage.
Yeah.
Because first you took away spider attack. Okay, pitchers. I get it. Spin rate was through the roof. Strikeout numbers were up, and if home run numbers start going up with these torpedo bats, like I'm not saying that it's cheating, but
it's not cheating, but it may be an advantage. Sure.
Yeah, and so if hitters get an advantage, why not let pitchers use spider attack? Like what? Like,
or do they raise the mound? Remember, they've lowered the mound in the past. Do they raise it again?
Maybe.
I mean, that gives pitchers a huge tactical advantage when you're trying to hit the ball moving on two planes.
Yeah,
much more difficult.
Or I think it's one of those things where it's like, when is a pitcher going to try something and then it works? And like, okay, well, do we give him that advantage or do we do something else?
Yeah. I think there's a lot to talk about. I think I think Major League Baseball has to look at it for a lot of different reasons in the offseason.
I think the MLB is wrong if they don't look at it, I should say.
Well, they're going to have to take a closer look because right now you've got pitchers completely handcuffed. I mean,
hitters
are allowed to put more wood in spots on the bat where they hit the ball, and meanwhile pitchers are getting searched every time they come off the field, like they're I don't know. I mean, maybe there's just a little bit of a disparity there.
Maybe you add a rule: one hitter per lineup can use a torpedo bat or something.
I don't know. Or like you said, I think you just let the pitchers use a certain. Maybe there's a certain agreed upon amount of sticky stuff, right? Like it can only be so sticky, and they can't have their hands completely coated. I think the ball can't come in brown from sticky stuff, right? You can't put pine tar on the ball and whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe you do. I mean, and listen, it's an injury concern as well, right? You've seen a lot of pitchers like it gets hot, man. It gets humid. Like in a lot of these places, like think about like Texas in the summer. You're trying to pitch and you're just dripping sweat. You're trying to throw a 98 mile per hour fastball, especially Jacob deGrom out there, right?
Yeah.
By the way, he pitched really well. The Rangers are my pick to go to the World Series in the American League. By the way, I'm going to get that out of the way now. We never got to the AL West, but I think the Rangers are a total dark horse. If deGrom stays healthy, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them back in the World
Series. Me neither.
At all.
And speaking of, while we're talking about baseball,
yeah,
did you see what Josh Naylor and Andres Gimenez are hitting?
No.
I get it's a small sample size. They're hitting 430 with like 4 home runs and like 14 RBIs in the first like week and a half of the season.
The Guardians always win these trades long term, right? Like, I know people are going to overreact to that. But there's going to be a point where if the Guardians do make the playoffs, you're going to see, hopefully, Carlos Santana getting on base, right?
I've told
2 or 3 or 4 times a night, and you're going to see how that increases.
And I've told people this, a bunch of my friends are dogging me like, dude, Santana's hitting 110. I was like, go back and look at Santana's stats throughout his career. He never starts fast. He never starts fast. The only year he did was 2020, and he made it to the All-Star game.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'll pick it. By the time you get to May, June, July, he'll be hitting 240, 250.
And I think that's indicative of that's the way the Guardians offense has always kind of gone.
It has, yes. And, you're going to get production the whole year from Steven Kwan and Hosey and stuff like that. But
yeah, by the way, I'm really glad Ramirez escaped any kind of injury. I saw.
Me too.
Yeah, he came out of the game, and then he played the next day and hit a home run. I thought, okay, he's fine.
Well, he went 3 for 4 the next day.
Exactly.
But, Santana's never started quick, and even though he's 110, his on-base percentage is still up around 300. So it's like he's still getting on base.
Yeah, still seeing the ball well, just not.
Yeah, and
maybe timing's a little off. Yeah,
they also haven't had great umpires either. Like the umpire yesterday in the Padres game, it's like the strike zone was like this big. Like every pitch, like they have the box on the screen, right? And if the circle's white, it's supposed to be a strike. If it's not, it's a ball.
Yeah,
it seemed like every single time the ball was open, it was a strike, and you're like, that's 2 inches off the plate. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So it's like hitters again, and that makes you think that are they going to bring the challenge system to the major leagues next year?
We'll see. I mean, it's going to make games longer. They want to make games shorter, right? More palatable.
But this thing though, it's not though. It's not though. Spring training games weren't. They were like 10 minutes longer than a regular MLB game without the challenge system.
Well, but then you have to remember too, you don't have all the TV breaks with spring training games, right?
That is true.
They can march right along. They don't have to worry about all the hitting all the marks for TV. So there is that. It's a minor factor, but there is that. But I want to get back to the torpedo bat because I just find listen, it's not just the Yankees. It's kind of starting to spread. I've seen guys, Ellie De La Cruz from the Reds has used it, right?
Dude, he used it for 2 games and went like 7 for 8 with 3 bombs, and it's like, okay.
Right. A couple guys from the Twins, the Rays, the Braves have supposedly put in an order. I don't know how much it's going to help the Braves. Wow, we'll talk about their offensive numbers in a minute. They're really bad. But maybe that'll turn it around for Atlanta. I have no idea. I think a lot of players or teams are they're either experimenting with it or they have orders in. I think it's starting to the popularity is rising for sure.
It is. And I was just going to say, if the Braves did order torpedo bats and they get it and they start hitting like crazy, okay, maybe it is the bats. Cause
maybe it is the bats.
I'm not saying it's to be mean, but obviously, like you said, the Braves are hitting 130 as a team, right?
Their approach is awful as a team. I mean, as a team through the whole lineup, it's bad.
If they get these torpedo bats,
and the one guy that was hitting, by the way, Ben, is now suspended for 80 games for use of PD. We'll get to that in a minute. But
but if these teams that are hitting bad start using these torpedo bats and start hitting bombs and start hitting 300, you're gonna be like, okay, is it really the bats or is it what is it at that point?
What is it? Yeah, we'll find out. So let me ask you this. I don't know if you're out there, if you're watching the show, or if if you're watching this live, or if you're, catching it on YouTube later, on Facebook later, whatever it is Aaron Lenny Lenhart, the MIT physicist, who made a bigger contribution to the Yankees, basically, is what I'm asking you. Aaron Lenhart or George Costanza, right? The assistant to the traveling secretary, showing Bernie Williams how easy it is to hit home runs in the cage. I don't know if Ben, do you watch Seinfeld? Have you ever watched Seinfeld?
I have not, no.
Okay. Well, that's above you then. If you've watched Seinfeld, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Who made a bigger contribution to the Yankees? Lenny Lenhart or George Costanza? That's something you can answer in the comments. And I do want to. I don't want to move on, but we have to move on because the Braves. It's just it has to be said. The Braves are 0-6, and they're not just 0-6. Like they're so bad that like this is. By the way, if you remember during spring training at some point, MLB.com came out with their best rosters in baseball list, right?
Yeah.
And the Dodgers were 1, the Braves were 2. And I looked at it and I was like, 2. All right.
Yeah. Without Acuna.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if they factored Acuna and Strider into that or not. I really don't know. I never
Strider's
did
not back
find
yet,
out.
is he?
No, not yet. He's there. That is some positive news for the Braves. We'll get to that at the end because I want to end on positive notes, not whatever this is. But yeah, the Braves are 0-6. They're 0-6. They started the season with Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna on the IL. Obviously, you knew it was going to be a slow start, right?
Yeah.
Sean Murphy broke a rib in spring training, so you have a guy that's not necessarily ready up there. You know, you've got.
Yeah, I saw the catcher, and I'm like, who is that? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, Drake Baldwin. Yeah,
yeah,
he's up there. I mean, he's kind of been rushed to Atlanta. It happened.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite ready to be there yet, but I mean, you have to stay ready, right? Catchers get hurt. I mean, it's catching. You know, Ben, catching's a tough job.
It is.
But yeah, so Murphy has a broken rib. At least it's not like an oblique or a hamstring or something that's going to.
How long is he out for?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure when he's going to be back. I don't know. I know a little more about Strider and Acuna, but I'm not sure when Murphy's looking to be back.
Speaking of pitchers and Strider, Bieber and Trevor Stephan are both supposed to throw. They're both supposed to throw bullpens at the end of this month. So
okay,
and then hopefully make a couple rehab appearances.
Yeah.
The
Guardians haven't started out great either, but it's better than the Braves at least.
It is, but the 2 games we've lost though, we haven't looked good.
Yeah. Well,
or 3 games.
At least you've had games where you've looked good because the Braves are hitting 137 as a team.
Yeah,
that's a Major League Baseball team, Ben. They're hitting 137.
Usually, if you hit 137, usually you get sent down to AAA.
I mean, right? Send the whole team down to AAA. Trade Gwinnett, bring the Stripers up, send the Braves down.
Yeah.
See what happens, right? Unfortunately, they're all out of options. Can't do that. But yeah, dead last in Major League Baseball, 137. They've hit just 4 home runs as a team that hit 9 million home runs a couple of seasons ago, right?
Yeah.
Almost broke the all-time record. Came really close to breaking the all-time record. And now they look like they just have no clue. They've scored 9 runs in 6 games. 9 runs.
It's pretty impressive.
So get this. Team slugging percentage, also dead last in Major League Baseball, 220. Okay. Team OPS, dead last in baseball at 458.
Yikes.
The offensive numbers are horrific.
Are they at least getting walks?
So it's funny that you asked me that. Marcell Ozuna's getting on base at a crazy clip. Ozuna's hitting 214. That's the best average in the lineup right now. His on base percentage, I think, is like 452 without looking at it. It may be it's like Bonds level, right? He's got 10 walks. But no, nobody else is seeing the ball very well. Ozzie Albies is okay. He's hitting 136, but he's gotten on base a little bit. Let's read these numbers. Matt Olson hitting 167. Jared Kelenic 158. Ozzie Albies 136. Michael Harris 130. Austin Riley, you ready for this? Riley competed for an MVP. 091.
Jeez.
091. And then Drake Baldwin, we talked about him getting rushed in a little bit. He's hitting 056. The reason that I didn't mention Jurickson Profar's name is because now, as if it could get worse, but it did. Profar was suspended for 80 games by Major League Baseball because he tested positive for the use of PEDs. And I thought, man, like what a terrible, like you got to the Braves and maybe, I don't know, maybe you felt pressure to I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Started using PEDs in spring training, or maybe it was like to rehab the wrist. He took something accidentally, but no, he tested positive in the offseason, Ben.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
So how does Major League Baseball let that happen? How do they let the Braves commit $42 million to a guy over 3 years, knowing that they've got positive tests that they're investigating and testing further? How do they do that? Is that fair?
I think it is because, well, I wouldn't say it's fair, but like obviously while they're investigating, like obviously it's not conclusive. Like they
can't release any information.
Yeah, something could have came up wrong, but at the same time, it's like any time a player tests positive for PEDs, it's the same exact statement. Oh, I didn't know this was on the banned substance list. You get a banned substance list every single year.
Yeah. I would never knowingly take. I played this game for the. I'm so sorry to my teammates, the fans. Yeah, every time it's the same thing.
like Trevor May, a guy I watch on YouTube. He literally said
Yeah.
at the beginning of every year, you get a sheet of paper from the
Yeah.
MLB that says what substances are banned.
And on top of that, you have a professional baseball organization that you're beckoning. Like they will literally tell you everything you can and cannot ingest. You've got the
Yeah.
best nutritionists. You've got strength and conditioning guys,
Yeah.
women, whoever on that staff that can help you. I don't really have any sympathy for Jurickson Profar. I don't feel sorry for him.
That's what told people. That's what told me. I said, like, Fernando Tatis Jr. tested positive for PDs,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing. It's like all these guys say, "Oh, well, I didn't know
You
that
must
this
have went
was
to that
in this
same
one."
barber and gotten ringworm.
Yeah.
Jurickson Profar maybe went to. Oh, they were in San Diego together. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it's this thing of like, "Oh, I didn't know I was taking it, dude." You're in like you said, you're in the MLB. Like,
Yeah.
you get a sheet of paper that literally says what pills you can and cannot take, and what is banned and what is not banned.
There's no excuse to ingest something that you're not sure of, right? It's just it's hurtful. And now also, I don't know if you saw a couple of days ago, Reynaldo Lopez is now on the IL, and he's a guy that was like the best. He was the best. Wow, the best fifth starter in the league last year, and it wasn't close. I mean, at some points, people were like, "Man, is he going to compete for the Cy Young?"
Yeah.
But that fifth spot in the rotation would get skipped over enough that he didn't quite have the minimum innings or whatever. But he pitched really, really well. And I told you that was a guy who I thought, here's a big candidate for, like, you talk about regressing to the mean, right? Like, he had never had a year that good in his career. It didn't even come close. And he was lights out last year. And I didn't expect that same kind of thing from him this year at all. And here we are, like now we're on the the boys. That's a great point. We're talking about Jurickson Profar. And, he says, look at his numbers before last year with the Padres and then last year with the Padres. Like, he just had this huge breakout year, right? So I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of suspicion.
There
right?
is. And
Profar was probably doing this last year in San Diego. I don't think it was an accident. I don't think he accidentally ingested, like, fish tacos that had testosterone sprinkled on them or something. Like, come on, man. I don't know. I have no idea what he tested positive for, but
it was like I saw the name of it, but I forget. I think it was the same drug Manny Ramirez tested positive for back in the day.
Okay, well, if it is, then
like, again,
it was definitely intentional because Manny Ramirez was on this whole, like, ease it in and then wean off, like, in time for MLB test. Like, they knew how to manage that with Ramirez, right? Those are the rumors anyway. I don't know if anyone's ever admitted to that, but yeah, with Manny, I think everybody knew that he was on it was a whole process, right? Like,
tested positive
the process to keep him very strong and very juiced, but also clean. Yes. Yeah. The boys. Yes. It wasn't that female estrogen. It was something. It was like I almost want to say it was a synthetic form.
Well, I looked it up on my phone. He tested positive for chronic gonadotropin, whatever it is. It's apparently it helps with.
That's the word you say every day. Yeah.
Apparently it helps with, like, your testosterone.
Okay.
So, it's what Manny Ramirez tested positive for back in the day, and so if Manny Ramirez tested positive for it, and you're saying, "Oh, I didn't know I was taking it," like, come on now, like, he tested positive for it 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, easy. I'm
not
old
that
enough.
long.
Man. Don't make it that long. Yeah, don't make it that long ago.
Not that long, but like, he tested positive for it years ago. Like, come on, like.
Yeah. Well, and then here's another question for you. Okay, so the first question I have is, how does Major League Baseball let a team commit $42 million
No, I
to a
agree.
guy who they know
Yeah.
is going to be, probably suspended? But fine. Okay, you can't release anything. That's fine. It just happens. That's the risk you take, right? It's like signing a guy and he gets hurt. What are you going to do? Here's another question. If you're the Braves, okay, and you've got Jurickson Profar on your whatever, he's suspended 80 games. He comes back a little bit before the All-Star break. I guess he'd be back. Do you even bother bringing him in? Okay, that's a good point too. My wife did say that Profar did say, for the record, in his statement, that he was tested multiple times last season without any issue. That's a good point. But that's what he said. But who knows, right? Like, well, they wouldn't have tested and gotten a positive and taken this long to investigate. So, I'm sure there's probably some truth to that. But yeah, you know what?
But if you think about it, though.
Now, hold on. Our viewers are talking to each other now. I like this. This is their show. You guys just want to? Can we pop you into the show and just, like, get you guys? I want you to debate this. But the boys has a great point. I mean, you can't really, right? Yeah, he's defending himself after he got caught.
I mean, I was just going to
say anything, right, to endear himself with the fans again.
It's it's like the whole Tatis situation. Like Tatis tested positive in the offseason too. Like you don't hear of many guys getting suspended in season. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, Profar technically did get suspended in season, but like you said, he
But
tested
it's
positive.
something in the offseason.
Yeah.
When you're trying to pack on pounds, right? You're trying
Yeah.
to like really work out, put on 20, 25, 30 pounds of muscle, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because baseball's a long haul. It's hard for guys to work out
Yeah.
and play 162 games.
And we were, I think it was, I don't know if I mentioned on show, but Chad, I know me and you talked about, that sickness that Mookie Betts had, where he lost all that weight.
Yeah.
It actually turned out that, it was just a stomach bug, and now he's gaining weight by just eating food.
Good. So I hadn't heard anything on the positive. I'm glad he's starting to do better now. Good.
It was one of those things, but obviously, it's hard to gain 25 pounds back. So he's not at the same weight he wants to be at, but hopefully it doesn't affect his
weak and
yeah. Like I mean, he just hit a huge home run last night, but I hope it's not go running through the Dodgers, because now Kike Hernandez was sick as well and says he has the same symptoms that Mookie Betts had. So hopefully it's not like a. I hope
and
it's
everybody's
not
trying to blame it on the food in Japan. This all started before they went to Japan, by the way. Mookie started feeling bad before they went to Japan. This isn't a Japanese thing.
Yeah, it's. But I mean, sometimes that's the life of a professional athlete, though. Like sometimes you eat a bad piece of food or something, and you get super sick. It's how it goes.
Boy says Japan isn't gonna let the Dodgers come back, man. Mookie brought norovirus over there. Yeah, like mega norovirus, right? Like this, like the mutated version or whatever. I just some other numbers that just show you how bad the Braves have been. So this is great. The Yankees with the torpedo bats have 18 home runs. Okay. The Braves have 18 hits.
That's pretty bad.
Man.
It's pretty bad.
They've returned to the Braves of the early 90s. It's like, well, not the 91, 90, like 1990, right? Where they also started 0-6, by the way.
Yeah.
And finished dead last in the NL West because they were in the NL West back then. But the only way to go is up, right? And at least the pitching's probably pretty good because it's Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Not really. No. Their team ERA is 4.88. That's 25th in baseball.
That's pretty good.
It's not. I mean, it's 25th in baseball.
Hey, you're not dead last though. You're not dead last though.
It's not dead last. There are teams below them in something, and it's really exciting, to be honest with you. Nothing offensively though. No, they're better than a couple of teams. They have like more walks than the Pirates or something.
Hey, whatever. You got to look at the positives though in these things. You can't just look at everything negative.
Right. It's exciting. Lisa says, "Wow." My wife's like, "Wow, they're not last in pitching." But it's a pretty embarrassing start. Hey, listen, the Mets aren't doing great either. The Mets aren't really hitting the ball either at all.
No. All I want to say
is not doing anything.
All I want to say is the White Sox are in first place right now in the AL Central.
Yeah. Well, the Angels were in first place in the AL West. Yeah. I saw the boys. That's got to make you pretty happy. Yeah, I saw the Angels were in first place. It's funny listing when you see the stats listed by teams, and it's like, whatever, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Guardians, and then it's just Athletics. They're not Oakland anymore. They're not Sacramento. They're just the Athletics. That's actually sad in a way. Okay. You know what? This is where I need my Angels beat writer to let me know things like this. He said, "How have you not talked about the Angels and all the quality starts they've had?" That's amazing for a team that can't ever find good, deep quality starting pitching to last a season. That's really promising, I would think, right? All those quality starts. That's amazing. So yeah, I need my Angels beat writer to keep me up.
That's
on
crazy.
Like that.
It's the first time since April 8th, 2023 that they're in first place.
Wow. And April 8th is not a good date to be the last time you were in first place, by the way. If it's September or something, that's good. That's okay. Yeah. But if it's April, that's usually not great.
Yeah, no, it's usually when teams are still trying to figure out the kinks.
Exactly. That's what the boys just said. First time standalone. Good. I hope the Angels win the AL West. I hope I'm wrong and the Rangers. I don't care. I just, it'd be nice to see the Angels win something, right? I don't care if I'm wrong. What else? Yeah, the Braves. I don't know. What are they doing? Are they pressing at the plate? Are they just, do you think they're just trying to do too much? Is it
probably?
It's not missing Acuna because he was gone all last year, basically.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of one of those things. It's maybe like, maybe they're kind of in like a slump right now, and it's,
just bad timing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's early April.
Doesn't that make you think though that like the way baseball works, right? The way that things ebb and flow. Don't you think now like there's going to be a point where they all figure it out at the same time?
You think?
Hopefully.
Could you imagine if they all just figured out and there's one game where they all go like 3 for 4 and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah. And then, but you'll be nervous, right? Because there's always the 18 hits in 6 games looming at the beginning of the season. That's sitting there. So, I hope there's a point where they all just kind of figure it out at once. That's typically, I mean, how hitting is contagious, and not hitting is contagious, right? When you've got guys at the top of the lineup just swinging and missing and waving at pitches that, quite frankly, they're just not even close on. I mean, the Braves look completely outmatched at the plate.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying to me because this is how they ended last season, right? In that Padres series, they looked completely outmatched. And there were times last year where they just couldn't score, and you knew, if they were able to kind of back into the playoffs, you knew they were going to have some trouble, and they certainly did with the Padres.
Yeah.
And they had more trouble with the Padres this year to start the season. So here we are, and now you get the Dodgers, right? The number one roster in baseball. Schedule. Yeah. Here we go. The boys real quick says Ryan Johnson from the Angels, first pitcher since Roy Halladay in 98 and 99 to record a save and a win within the first 3 appearances of his career. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Roy Halladay, one of my favorites, one of my absolute all-time favorites.
That's crazy. I forgot. That's the guy that didn't pitch in the minors at all. The boys just said that as well. Like he's the one guy that didn't pitch in the minors. And that's crazy.
And he got a little banged up on opening day. If you remember, he gave up, I think, 5 runs in an inning or whatever. But here he is now.
But talking about, saves and getting wins, it's kind of funny that, Clase comes in and blows a save but gets the win for the Guardians. It's like, but
now you've got that blown save looming in your stat line, right? You don't want that. So, I get it.
I said this is a hot take. I hope it doesn't happen. But if we get the Clase the playoffs last year, Cade Smith is the Guardians closer by June.
Okay. Did you say Kate Smith or Cade?
No, Cade.
Okay, go ahead. No, I was like, no.
No, but if you get the Clase that you had in the postseason, Cade Smith is the Guardians closer by June.
Maybe. He was lights out last year in the postseason.
He was.
And the boy says, could you imagine taking a 99-mile-per-hour cutter to the dome?
No.
No.
I couldn't. I just want to say this. Did you see that people are going after him saying that he's a headhunter now?
Of course, because he's hit 2 people up. Listen, dude, as a closer, right? Like you've got 99, you're going to use it at the top of the zone.
Yeah.
And we talked about the ban on sticky stuff, right? Like it's going to get away from you sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
it happens.
I saw a stat. He's only hit 15 guys in like however many innings he's pitched in his career.
Yeah.
And he's only hit 2 guys in the head.
Yeah.
And like you said, those only happened after the sticky stuff got banned. Before that, he never hit anybody like.
I saw all the social media comments, and someone said, listen, if you throw that hard, you shouldn't be allowed to throw to the inside part of the plate. I mean, you might as well put the ball on a tee and just let them hit it and dumb down the bats so they can't hit it, 500 feet or whatever, and just let them play T-ball and then go field the ball. Because if you can't pitch inside, I mean, you literally might as well put the ball on a tee.
Yeah.
You have to pitch inside. You have to pitch up.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you have, and it's going to get away sometimes, and that's baseball.
Yeah.
I wish there was a better way to protect guys. I hate when guys get hit in the hand and break their hand; they're out for the season.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's my team, another team, whatever. I hate when that happens.
I agree.
It's all a part of baseball, and it stinks, but
it is.
It's a part. It's a game. It's
not like it's not like you can put a screen in front of the hitter and be like, okay, you got to stand here and half swing because there's a screen in the way, and just hope that
Exactly. I mean, you see the boys comment here. Got to flex your dominance sometimes. Exactly. I mean, some of the best pitchers weren't afraid to give a little. Pedro Clemens, right? What about Bob Gibson? You think Bob Gibson was worried about hitting anybody? Like,
no.
I mean, Bob Gibson wanted to hurt you. Like he was. Bob Gibson was mean on the mound, man.
Yeah.
And then you go up there and you got guys, major league players, who were uncomfortable standing in the box, taking that bat against Bob Gibson, and now you have the mental advantage, the psychological advantage. Back then, the mound was higher. I mean, Bob Gibson must have been impossible to touch.
Yeah.
I mean, and who knows how hard they were really throwing back then.
Yeah, and
it's hard to say.
I don't know. It's just like, but the thing is, like, if you look at all those comments, most of them are Royals fans. Like, oh, he's a headhunter. Like, let's be real here. Like, he's hit 2 guys in the head in his career.
It's
like
not the Marlins and Ronald Acuna Jr., right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Marlins hit Acuna Jr. like what, 8 times in 2.5 seasons at one point. I mean, come on, man. Now I get it, you're pitching inside, but at some point you're not pitching inside anymore. Like.
Yeah,
it was pretty obvious when Don Mattingly was there. Like, I mean, they were hitting him on purpose. It was pretty obvious.
Well, it was like that. It was like that CC Sabathia story where, he was like 3 innings away from earning like a $500,000 bonus, and they hit his player, so he just beating the guy right in the head.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. It says, do you ever hear the story of Bob Gibson, the final home run he gave up in his career? I know that he gave up a home run to somebody in like an old timers game. He gave up like an absolute bomb, but that's probably not what you're talking about, the boys. Let me know in the comments what you're talking about. We'll put that up on the show in a minute. But if it's not that one, then no, I haven't heard of it. But I know like Gibson gave up a home run to like
I think he
I
gave up a
can't
home
remember who
run.
it
I think he
was.
gave up a home run to a guy, and then he faced him in an old timers game and hit him. I think that's
Maybe.
the story. Unless I'm
Maybe,
thinking
but I know
somebody
I
else.
cannot remember who it was. Maybe Luke. Who was it? Luke Appling? Somebody 74 years old or whatever, and hit a bomb in an old timers game. I mean, not on a shortened like snow
That's
fence in
funny.
the outfield. Like hit a bomb.
Well, that's like. Do you remember when?
I hope I'm hitting bombs at 74, man.
Do you remember when Travis Hafner was in the Celebrity All Star game in Cleveland? He hit a
Yeah.
softball like over the major league fence, and you're like, holy crap, this dude can rake.
Yeah, that's not easy to do. Now, okay, here we go. Okay, Grand Slam in the final game. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, 15 years in an old, he beamed him. That's fantastic.
That's funny. Talk about holding a grudge.
Good old Pete Lecoq. That's an all-time baseball name. Hey, listen, I think that's a great sign that it's time to get out of here for the day, right?
For sure, that's a good way to end it.
Yeah, it's a great way to end it on Pete Lecoq. Wow. Anyway, yeah, the Braves are bad. Torpedo bats are good. Final Four is great. We'll see if the Braves get any better. I don't know. The Yankees hitting 18 home runs and the Braves having 18 hits through 6 games is wild to me. There you go. Okay, yeah, you're thinking 75-year-old Luke Appling. There you go, Warren Spahn.
Yeah.
I knew it was okay. I knew it was somebody I definitely knew. But yeah, that's amazing. 75 years old hitting a home run in an old timers game. Man, I hope that's me one day.
Yeah, that's. I hope I'm still playing baseball or softball at 75.
I hope I'm still aware of what baseball and softball are at 75. I'll be excited to be not sitting in the corner somewhere doing Sudoku, trying to keep my mind sharp. I can't do Sudoku. It'll be like mahjong or something. Anyway, that's it for the day. That's it for the show today. We appreciate you guys watching, commenting. It's so much fun when you guys can, especially when you start talking to each other. And then my wife probably had to do something for work, so she dipped out for a minute, but that's okay. I'm sorry, the boys. She just dipped out on you. But again, thanks for watching. Next week, we'll talk about our brand new national champions. It'll be what, Duke or Florida or Houston or Auburn. It's gonna be somebody.
One of those 4.
Yeah, one of those 4.
We know that.
It's not gonna be Purdue. So much for that a couple years ago. Anyway, I'm done ripping on Purdue. I gotta leave them alone now. But yeah, it's time for us to get out of here. So next week, like I said, look for that. We'll talk about the national championship game. We'll break that down. Hopefully we'll talk about the Braves' slight resurgence or whatever. Oh, look, my wife said, sorry, I'm here. Well, now we have to go. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching. I hope the weather gets better.
For sure.
Keep an eye out wherever you are. If you're in Ohio, I know the weather's supposed to get pretty nasty again tonight. We have a second round of bad weather. So, keep an eye on your phones, watch your weather channels, whatever, whoever you watch locally. Keep an eye on that and make sure you're prepared for that because it can get pretty nasty pretty quickly.
For sure.
Other than that, like I said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week on the show.